Hello guys and welcome to another video. So today I'm going to show you a game between Ding Liren and Magnus Carlsen. Before I had a match between Carlsen and Ding, but I forgot accidentally a picture of a Wesley in the instead of Ying, so my apologies for that. But now it's also Magnus versus Ding, and Ding plays with the white pieces and Magnus with the black pieces. So let's further to do, let's go into this match. And thank you for watching. So Ding Liren opens with c4. Magnus answers with the knight, knight to f6, g3, e6, bishop to g2, d5, knight to f3, captures c4, queen to a4, knight b to d7, queen to c captures c4, a6, queen back to c2, and c5. So Ding picked up the pawn there and got back with his queen, just like that. That's some kind of gambit. I don't know the name for that, but little bit tricky movement in the start. So queen goes to c7, d4, Magnus captures at the d4 and capture with the knight. Bishop to c5, knight to b3, bishop to d6, castles and castles. And Liren goes to d1, bishop to e5, bishop to e3, knight to d5, and bishop to d5, capturing the knight, and pawn captures d5. And Liren brings his rook into the c file now, and knight to f6. Knight captures d5 and captures with the rook, comes into the middle, and queen captures c2. So queen trade happened there, and it's two bishops, two rooks versus two rooks and bishop and knight. And Ding Liren has one extra pawn for his sacrificed bishop. So it's kinda even game right now. Bishop to f6, knight to c5, rook to e8, bishop to d4, bishop to e7, rook to e5, pushing the pawn to f6, so rook has to go back into e3, and bishop to f5, rook to d2, bishop to c5, attacking the d4 bishop, but and giving the rook the opportunity to come capturing the e8. So we have a trade there. So both players have rooks, and but black has two bishops. So what happened here was two rooks, bishops. So Ding Liren has this rook, which he goes back with it, and then Magnus plays bishop to f5, attacking the rook here, but leaving this rook. So then the rook goes d2 and bishop captures c5. Okay, so he just went these tricky moves and won an exchange there. Nice play by that Ding Liren. So, but actually this trade happened now. I'm sorry, I just read the situation wrong. I think Ding won the exchange there, but actually it's now he's capturing back the bishop. So it's rook and bishop, other color bishops. So rook goes to c8 and b4, a5, a3, pawn captures b4, b4 capture. So this pawn is now protecting this bishop, so it cannot be attacked yet. F3, rook to d7, just attacking the rook, but Ding Liren declines and goes to a2 instead. This comes as a target if he wants to bring a check in the game. So h5, Magnus starts pushing his pawns, and king to f2, king to f7. Both players brings their kings in the game, and h4, bishop to e6, and now comes the rook to a1 and b5, pushing the pawn so it's out of this dark bishop's range, because it cannot be it cannot touch the white squares, obviously. So e4 comes then, and bishop to c4, king to e3, rook to d3 with check. So king has to move, goes to f4, only square left for the king, and then rook goes back to d7. And Liren maneuvering with his rook, now it came from here to over here, and now he comes to attack this pawn here. So king has to defend it with g6, g4, captures, and now it's 3 pawns versus 2 pawns, but white has this better structure here, with chances to getting the king into the bad spot, but still it's only dark bishop, so unfortunately for the white it would be much worse position for black if this would be a white bishop, but okay. King goes to f7 and h5, pushing now even further. Bishop to b3, e5, captures, and rook comes to d5 with the check. King goes back, d1, rook to f8, making a check. Not much to do here. White wants to push his pawns and goes for check. Another check here. If the king would go this way, it would be he would need to go away, and then black would lost his rook there. But of course, black player Magnus Carlsen knows this and doesn't want to lose this, since he knows he can easily go, he could play this into the draw. And rook to f8, king to e6, king to g5, bishop to c2, rook to a8, king to f7, rook to a7, just trying to get the king into the position where he could get his make a mistake or end it in the draw. So rook to b7, rook to d5, attacking the king, but it's still defended by the pawn, the bishop also, and bishop comes to d3 now. g5, rook to d8, g6, bishop to c4, king to g5, rook to d5 with check, king goes back to f4, rook to d8, bishop to d6, bishop to e2, bishop to e5, captures. So finally black could reach this position where he can finally pick up these pawns, but at least one of them, and now the king comes into the defend. So bishop goes back to e2 and rook to g8. This just shows us how good these players are on the endgame. So they could they easily have so much ideas here that it takes a long time to make a checkmate for another one, or even get to the position where you can pick up these pawns. So king f6, bishop to c4, attacking this rook now, and black rook goes back to d1, back to base, and now king have to move either this way or this way, so he goes to d8 and rook to a7, just getting out of the king's way, and they are now, both players are now checking each other, like trying to get a little edge here, but it's really hard situation since there's not much to do now. And king goes to e7, and bishop to f6, rook to e1, king to h8, rook to h1 with check, king goes back to g7, and rook to a1, and rook to b1, b7, excuse me, and rook to e2. Just waiting what the other player is going to do, and a7, e1, rook to c7, rook to e2, rook to a7, just maneuvering with the rooks now. Nothing much to do here with the check. King goes back to d7, king f8, attacking the bishop now, king goes back to defense, king rook to g2 now, and now rook makes a check here, and king goes back, rook to e8, and the same maneuvers happens again and again. So Magnus goes for the check last time, rook to h2, and Liren goes with the g7, hiding again with the king, and rook to g2, bishop to d4, rook to g4, bishop to c5, and rook to g1. And it was this position when the Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, or actually he ran out of the time and he doesn't have any moves left. So Ding Liren won this game between these two guys, and it was an interesting start. The position were really like draw many how many moves this last, like 50 moves, there was 87 moves total, and this was like a draw from start to the end. So these guys are just getting this game so like tight, and trying to find edge for each other, and I think this guy is going to see each other in the candidates tournament in 2020. So these are the strongest players in my opinion in this pool now today. So Ding Liren and Carlsen always has these very tight games. Both players are really smart and wise players. So, and really good in end games and tricky lines. They can adjust themselves really easily. But that's about for that match. This was actually from August, in the end of August, in the start of October this year. So you're going to see very interesting matches between these two guys. And see you in the next video, guys. Bye bye.